This student complains to the teacher about those boxes again, and the teacher says they shouldn't argue with him. He orders all the students to put the boxes on their heads. The teacher says he doesn't want to hear any noise or conversation, and just wants to see the students taking the test. After he gives them permission to start. But a student approaches him, and he questions what she is doing. She says she has a question on the test. And the teacher says that 5 minutes have passed and she is already asking questions, and complains that the student always does the same thing. But the student asks if he can help her. So the teacher says yes, that when she gets home, she should open chapter 14 and there will be all the answers. While they are talking, the students are writing the answers in boxes so that they can paste them on the exam. The teacher says that he has already done his role, which is to teach the whole subject, so she should already know the answers. Then the student sits back down. The teacher orders them to be quiet, because he is observing them. While he corrects some things, the students continue to do the tests. And he doesn't even notice that the students are clever at cheating, using silent methods to do so. Soon he hears the noise and questions its origin, saying that he is watching the students very well, and orders them to stop. And a student justifies that it is the rain. But the teacher doesn't believe her. He tells the students to invent another excuse. While they are taking the exam, the teacher tells them that they can take it easy, because he is sure that they will do very well. Not least because they are the best students in the class, and the smartest. The students continue to use their methods to cheat on the exam and pass the answers. The teacher then decides to stand in the back of the room, and says that he is watching a student, ordering her to be quiet. He says that everyone should be quiet, because he is listening to everything, and doesn't want to hear any noise. Meanwhile, he places a mirror on a board in the back of the room, and makes it clear that he is watching all the students. He then goes back to his seat, but realizes what the students are doing to cheat on the exam. He catches the students in the act, and says that he already knew that they were cheating, and that he got tired of this behavior. He says that he is going to call the principal. Quickly the students ask the teacher not to do this. But he doesn't listen to them, and uses his cell phone to text and voicemail to the principal. He explains that he is in the classroom, and would like him to come over. He apologizes for bothering the principal. The students begin to say that this is not true, that they always behave well. One student asks the teacher to leave them alone. It's enough with that box he makes the students use. And another student agrees. The student says that this will make the teacher lose his job and make the students feel humiliated in that situation. The teacher says that they should have thought about this before they cheated. A student says that none of them know how to answer the kind of questions he asks on the exam. The teacher says that they should have thought about this before they cheated. And the teacher uses these surprise tests to lower the students' grades. All of this is an abuse that the teacher is committing against them. And they ask if the teacher has no other option for them to take the exams. Then the teacher stands up and gives the box back to the student, and claims that their best option is to study. And he says that what the students are doing in the classroom is abuse, because the institution spends a lot of money on the students. He even considers it a sin, because all the students in the classroom are on scholarship, and the institution spends a lot of money on them. And one student questions what the teacher has against scholarship students. Then the teacher says that they shouldn't exist in the institution. A student says that they don't have money, but they want to study like anyone else. In the opinion of the professor, they don't have rights like the others, because they cause more damage to the institution than any other student. And that they shouldn't even be in that college, that they should be in another college at the same level as the students or even lower. He says that he could be a businessman and be making a lot of money. But he is there teaching the students, being a failed professor, teaching the same people and the same subject. And he says this because he had no options to study, and had to become a failed teacher as he is now. The student says that if he is a failure, it's not the student's fault, and that the teacher is dumping all his frustration on them. The professor orders her to talk to him properly, because she has no right to treat him like anyone else, and makes it clear that they are to blame, because the students have no right to have these scholarships. And that they should also deserve this scholarship, and that they don't deserve it. And that they don't deserve it, because they don't study the subject at all, and they should study harder. So what he is doing to the students, putting these boxes on their heads, is so that they don't get each other's answers. At that moment the coordinator enters the room, as she has been sent by the principal to solve the problem in class. The teacher apologizes to her for being in the way of her work. He says that it was a surprise to him that all the students were cheating on the exam. The coordinator questions how he found out. He explains that he noticed that the students were making noise, a code of theirs, so that they could pass the answers to each other. This made him extremely disappointed, not least because they are the best students in the class. He was extremely disappointed, because in the institution's regulations it is written that cheating is not allowed. The coordinator says that she also needs to hear the students' version of events, and needs them to explain what is happening, because they are university students and it is not possible that this could have happened. Says that if they got their scholarship, it's because they are excellent students, so he can't understand the reason for the cheating. A student asks if she can say something, and gets a positive answer. Then she says that they always study and behave, but the thing is that the teacher hates them. A student agrees, saying that he never makes a point of teaching them. He always puts questions on the test, of subjects that he never teaches. And that he also just admitted to the students that he hates the scholarship recipients. The teacher says that the students are all young, and that they are talking this kind of barbarity, so that they can get out of that situation. The student says that's true, because that's what the teacher said. That's why he keeps doing these things to the students, putting a box on their heads. He wants the students out of the institution, and he has a way to prove it. So she shows a video to the coordinator. And as soon as she sees it, she says that she will not allow the professor to continue in the institution, defaming the image of the college for his personal reasons. The professor's attitude is completely unacceptable. He tries to explain that it is not for personal reasons, and that he just has a different teaching technique. The coordinator questions whether he thinks she is silly or something. Being a teacher is one of the oldest professions on the planet, and she questions whether he should feel honored by it. To come into the world with this gift of being able to teach other people, instead of complaining. Without further ado, she says that the professor is a disgrace to the institution, and orders him to leave the place, because he is fired. Then he leaves. The coordinator asks the students not to worry about this test, because it will be totally annulled. And they celebrate that moment, knowing that everything ended well. The coordinator says that the only test they will have is the one that is within the institution's schedule. And as an apology for all the inconvenience, the students will have the rest of the day free. And once again, she apologizes for the whole problem.